And then the last deputant is Sophie Elpard, Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs. Good afternoon. You have 5 minutes to make your comments, up to 5 minutes, and then we may have some questions.
Great, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Sophie Elpard, and I'm presenting on behalf of the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs, CJA, the advocacy agent of the UJA Federation of Greater Toronto, with regard to the use of city space by third parties. As you are aware, significant data and evidence points to a rise in anti-Semitism and other forms of hate in many parts of the world, most recently with devastating results in the terrorist attack on Muslims at a prayer in New Zealand. This is a trend from which Canada is not immune. Bigotry against ours and other communities has increasingly taken the form of public rallies by those promoting hateful agendas. As you are aware, in Toronto, this has included the annual Quds Day rally, which CJA has been actively monitoring since 2011. This event regularly includes the display of flags of banned terrorist entities, anti-Semitic rhetoric from speakers, and even calls for violence against Jews. While the events once took place on the steps of Queen's Park, the organizers of the Quds Day have for years been denied permits to gather outside the legislature and have relocated to City Park space at the north end of Queen's Park Circle. This is not an isolated phenomenon. Other hateful groups have attempted to use city space to conduct hate rallies. This includes the Worldwide Coalition Against Islam, which in 2018 attempted to organize a rally at Nathan Phillips Square to promote its shameful, bigoted agenda. We propose a practical solution that will help the city ensure that in exceptional cases, groups promoting bigotry can be denied the use of city-owned space, including parks and iconic sites such as Nathan Phillips Square. A model currently exists in the form, which Mayor Tory, you referred to earlier, of the Toronto Public Library Community and Event Space Rental Terms of Use. We commend the city for recently modernizing this policy to enable the denial of permits for events that are likely to include the promotion of discrimination, contempt, or hatred towards identifiable groups. This update was conceived in direct response to neo-Nazi groups using library space for their gatherings. The specific provision is contained in the following section of the library's terms of use. It's section 4.4, denial of use. I'm not going to read out the entire section, but I will draw your attention to one point that states, the library reserves the right to deny or cancel a booking when it reasonably believes that, amongst other things, use by any individual or group will be for a purpose that is likely to promote or would have the effect of promoting discrimination, contempt, or hatred for any group or person on the basis of race, ethnic origin, place of origin, citizenship, color, ancestry, language, creed, age, sex, gender identity, gender expression, marital status, and many other factors. As the city librarian noted in a report to the Toronto Public Library Board in 2017, these policy changes are designed to support the values underpinning a democratic society, including free, open, and equitable access to a diversity of information and ideas, civic engagement, intellectual freedom, and freedom of speech. However, support for free speech does not translate into tolerance for hate speech. While this applies to rental of Toronto Public Library facilities, city-owned parks are of course not subjected to this policy. Instead, the City of Toronto requires organizers of events in public parks with certain requirements based on noise to apply for a permit from the city. However, the current application for a special event in a city park or facility includes no section similar to the library's denial of use policy. The library's policy was developed following significant consultation, deliberation, and legal review. Whatever modifications are ultimately made to the existing policy on events held in city parks or squares, it is clear that the following three elements are essential. First, demonstration organizers should be subject to a significant administrative penalty if they do not obtain a permit prior to holding an event or demonstration in a city park or square. Second, the permit application should explicitly state that the promotion of hatred against identifiable groups or the incitement of violence or criminal activity constitutes a violation of the terms of the permit, and event organizers can be subject to significant administrative penalty if they fail to uphold these terms. And third, the permit application should state that the city retains the right to deny permits when it reasonably believes that the event organizers will not or cannot uphold the terms and conditions of the permit. Mary Tory, yourself, as well as City Council, have consistently shown a steadfast commitment to oppose anti-Semitism and hate in all forms. In keeping with this strong record and the City of Toronto's dedication to ensure that no Torontonian need fear that they will face hate because of their identity, I urge you to amend the special event application process to include a denial of use policy consistent with that contained in the library's terms of use. Thank you for your attention to this matter, which is of deep concern to many in Toronto's diverse Jewish community, and we look forward to engaging further on this policy.
Thank you. Right on the dot of 5 minutes. May I ask if there are some questions? Councillor Pasternak.
Thank you very much for your comments. The Queen's Park situation, they used to have a permit there, and then the permit was revoked. And now I understand there's a private member's bill to keep hate rallies out of Queen's Park. So it's not just the City of Toronto or me. Other levels of government are getting tough on hate. Do you see this as a good thing when all levels of government are getting tough on hate gatherings?
That's correct, and in the specific instance of the grounds of the legislature, because the rally in question was not meeting the guidelines that they had established, they were not allowed a permit to continue, and unfortunately that has now moved on to city property, which has become a topic of discussion amongst this committee.
Now, you mentioned the case of the Toronto Public Library space. I understand that group was white supremacists, Holocaust deniers. That was not an Quds gathering, and they were banned from further space, because I understand they've made another request. Do you think it's fair enough for us to revisit our anti-discrimination policy on a regular basis, like we're doing today, to keep up with changing times?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Pasternak. Are there other questions of the Deputy? Okay, thank you so much for your representations and answers.